Cynthia's secret admirer starts sending her presents for the 12 days of Christmas. She tries to find the man with her best friend, Liam, but fails to see what's right in front of her. Cynthia walks in excitement towards a coffee shop and meets Sandra. She asks for her usual cupcakes in her favorite booth. She is excited about her date with her boyfriend, Jason, who is joining her soon. She notices a man feeling anxious with a ring box. She informs him about the tag on his new suit and asks to see the ring. She asks him to relax and knows his girlfriend will say yes. He is nervous because this is the third time he is attempting a proposal. She offers to switch tables because she knows her booth is more romantic. Jason asks why they don't have their regular booth, and Cynthia claims it's for a good cause. It's their 5-month anniversary, which Jason doesn't remember. He still gets her a Christmas present. Cynthia asks him to bring it to the farm on their trip, since she wants to open it closer to Christmas. He claims he's not sure about them, and thinks 2 weeks with her family will be overwhelming. She understands that he's breaking up with her, and starts packing up her stuff. She hopes the couple on the booth have a great night, but she takes both the cupcakes she ordered and the gift he got her in anger. Liam is playing basketball with his friend, Paul, and some other guys when he gets a call from his boss, Cynthia. She explains to Liam how Jason bailed right before Janet's wedding, who is her younger sister. She is angry at the gift he gave her of Christmas bird ornaments right before he dumped her. Cynthia feels it's still for the best if Jason couldn't handle her. She is sure the right guy for her is out there. She has high expectations because she has seen the kind of romantic things her parents did for each other. She is still determined to get a +1 for the wedding and convinces Liam to come with her. He claims he only agreed because he doesn't have other plans and they have a book deadline to work on. It's the first Christmas since Cynthia's mom passed away, and Liam hopes he's not interrupting anything. Cynthia is sure her dad will love his company, and she doesn't want Liam to be alone on Christmas. He reminds her that he also dates, but she doesn't remember anyone from the past decade. She knows he would look much happier if he had someone in his life. The last girlfriend she remembers is Maggie, whom he dated a decade ago. She feels he at least hasn't messed up 5 relationships in 2 years like her. He reminds her about Ronaldo, the 6th one, but she doesn't want to count him. She feels 2 weeks of this trip are exactly what she needs with no drama. She is waiting to spend time with her dad at Janet's wedding and start the new year fresh. As they enter Quetchi Village, they get pulled over. She asks her ex-boyfriend, Scott, if she was speeding. Scott has no idea since the radar gun isn't working. He pulled her over to chat with her and asks about Liam. She explains that Liam is a work friend and an illustrator for her book. He tries to scare Liam, but Cynthia rushes Scott since she's getting late to join her family. Scott met Janet the other day, who joked about Cynthia screwing up her wedding. Cynthia knows Janet doesn't like her enthusiasm about weddings, but is sure it will turn out great. Scott tries to ask her out for a coffee, but Cynthia claims she is busy and will think about it. Cynthia informs Liam that Scott was her first boyfriend. She claims she's only nice to him because he's a cop. Liam compliments her place, but Cynthia doesn't understand why they haven't put up the lights yet. She goes to check for her dad in the barn and comes back to find that Liam is bringing out their stuff. He hasn't gone inside without her yet because he's afraid of Janet. Cynthia is very excited to see Janet and her fiancé, Roger. Janet is confused because she thought Cynthia was bringing a date. Cynthia claims Liam can be her date for the wedding, and they can finish their work. Janet asks if she drove Jason away too. Cynthia thinks it's not her fault that men find her romantic nature intense. Cynthia informs Roger that Liam draws her Felicia Flowers books. Roger finds them amusing and doesn't know where Cynthia gets inspiration from. Janet informs her that their dad, Tom, is doing fine currently, but she is worried how he will do after she and Roger get their own place. Cynthia thinks they just have to make this Christmas count for him. Janet hasn't had time to get the tree or decorations for the house because of the wedding. Cynthia feels they need to follow the tradition of the house and get a huge tree this year too. Tom is glad to meet her, but Cynthia points out how they seem to be running behind schedule at the barn. Janet reminds Cynthia she is her maid of honor and not wedding planner. They still have 2 weeks left, and everything is under control. Tom remembers Liam, but didn't know they were dating. Cynthia clarifies that Liam will just be her platonic date for the wedding. Cynthia is excited to get a tree soon, and Tom loves how she brings the Christmas spirit to the house. Tom asks Liam to remember that he's a good hunter in case he has any intentions with his daughter. Roger claims Tom scared him in a similar manner too. Cynthia wants to find a perfect wreath and runs into another ex-boyfriend, Grant. He had heard she was coming and knew he could find her there. She introduces him to Liam. and explains that they dated in senior year. She clarifies that Liam is just a friend and asks Grant to help her with the perfect wreath. He has kept some special ones hidden because single, hardworking moms usually get the scraps. Since he wants them to have the best of wreaths, Cynthia jokes about why they ever broke up. Cynthia has been up for hours in the morning baking gingerbread cookies, since there was nothing in jars. Liam asks if they're going to run into more ex-boyfriends that day. She thinks it's no big deal. She dated a few people in a small town. She runs to get the doorbell, and a woman gives her a partridge in a pear tree on the first day of Christmas. She walks away without giving more information, and Cynthia reads the note about it being from her supposed one true love. She thinks it's a very romantic gesture and a great Christmas mystery. Liam asks why Cynthia thinks this is for her when Janet is getting married. Cynthia reminds him that Janet is marrying an accountant who is too boring for a gesture like this. She asks Liam to not confront Roger about it, since he gets awkward. Cynthia decorates the tree with Liam, and everyone in the family loves their work. Tom knows that his late wife, Marie, would be proud of it. Liam tries to interrogate Roger and asks his thoughts about the romantic Christmas wedding. Roger claims it was the only sensible choice since people have the day off and families are together. Liam admits Roger couldn't have sent the gift, and they get back to working on the new book about Felicia. Cynthia starts brainstorming ideas and asks Liam to keep drawing everything she's suggesting. She wants the Christmas magic to show, and toys coming alive at night. She stumbles upon her mother's wedding gown and remembers how she used to keep trying it on. She grew up dreaming about her perfect romance like she saw with her parents. They were married for 40 years and still gave each other little surprises. Liam comes over to console her, but Cynthia remembers they have a deadline. She asks Liam to work on the sketches while she shows the dress to Janet. Cynthia feels Janet needs to get it to the dry cleaners if she wants the gown ready on time. Janet informs her she already picked out a dress. It's more sensible, and she can wear it again to parties. Cynthia feels the whole point of a wedding gown is to wear it once. When Janet claims she's not ready to wear the gown yet, Cynthia hugs her and comforts her. On the second day, the same woman brings Cynthia 2 turtle doves from her secret admirer. She shows it to Janet and Liam and is excited about how she thinks the gifts will keep coming on all days. Liam doesn't understand the concept of turtle doves, but she assures him it's very romantic. Janet thinks there's no point of the presents if no one is taking credit. Cynthia feels the person sending this has left clues, and she is determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. Cynthia brings Tom to the local pet store so they can learn about the turtle doves. Cynthia reminds him of Marie because she was equally excited about the chance for romance. Cynthia asks Esther about who purchased the gifts. Esther claims their shop doesn't carry turtle doves. She feels one of the specialty shops in the city are likely to sell them. Scott comes to the store to put up flyers for the winter carnival. He notices Tom buying bird seeds and asks if they're coming to the carnival. When Tom is hesitant, Scott gives him tickets, so he has no excuse to not come. Cynthia shows Liam the 3 French hens on the third day and asks him to help her solve this mystery. They drive to the city after Cynthia learns a special permit is needed to import the turtle doves. She has found a website called McPherson's Special Events, who already have a permit for them. She is sure her admirer got the doves from there. Liam thinks she shouldn't ruin a surprise for someone who worked so hard to hide their identity. Cynthia is determined to find out more and pretends to be from the Fish and Wildlife Department. She asks for missing information on a turtle dove's permit and the client's name. The man refuses to give her anything without consent and a warrant. The client has insisted on confidentiality till all the deliveries are made. There's also a final letter to explain everything. He claims he can't reveal anything till all deliveries have been made to the recipient. Cynthia gets 4 calling birds the next day, which look very real. Janet wants these gifts to stop, but Cynthia feels this is the most romantic mystery since the Bermuda Triangle. Liam feels the admirer has really planned it well, and it has to be someone who knew she was coming to town. She thinks it's Grant, because she remembers how excited he was to see her. She also feels he was flirting with her, and all this seems to be his style. She is sure she can find this out by meeting him. Cynthia signs some Felicity books for Grant's nieces. His brother, Bill, and his wife, Sean, are currently in Miami. Cynthia starts giving him hints about how great it is to receive surprise gifts on Christmas. Scott comes looking for Cynthia, and Liam informs him that she's still looking for her secret admirer. Liam feels she's still uncertain till she finishes her date with Grant. Cynthia tries to flirt with Grant and claims she knows he sent the presents. She realizes he is a priest and stuffs her face with cupcake in embarrassment. Everyone is glad the 5 golden rings the next day are something they at least don't have to feed. When Tom leaves to finish the arch in the barn, Liam teases her about her ex-boyfriend turning out to be a priest. Cynthia feels now that they know it's not Grant, it has to be Jason. Janet still thinks it could be Scott, because he's Quetchy's most eligible bachelor. Cynthia seems sure it's Jason, because he gave her the bird ornament earlier. She feels his need to break up and not show up for the trip was a whole plan to win her back. She is sure he's giving her a grand gesture that is working out perfectly. Cynthia knocks on Jason's door and realizes it's not him. He's in the room with another woman, so Cynthia nervously leaves them alone. Liam teases Cynthia for another failure. She has almost given up chasing her admirer and thinks she will just wait for the letter. Liam reminds her that he suggested the same thing. Janet feels it's obvious that her true love is Scott, because she knows he is still pining for her. Cynthia thinks arranging all this is out of Scott's league, but Janet feels people can change. Liam and Cynthia are having pillow fights for 6 geese, allaying when Janet finds them. They start hitting Janet with pillows too, and Tom soon joins all of them. Cynthia helps Liam buy gifts for her family, and he just has to find something suitable for her dad. She thinks it's very sweet that she pulled Liam into the trip last minute, and now he's buying gifts. He claims the Christmas presents craze is rubbing off on him. She suggests he can buy something for her too, but he already has. Cynthia asks if Liam thinks Scott could be behind the gifts. Liam doesn't think so, but Cynthia feels it'll be nice if they get back together as high school sweethearts. When she asks if Liam has sent these gifts, he jokes about her catching him. They share a look, but Cynthia feels like she should call Scott. Tom is glad for the 7 Swans champagne that they all can enjoy. They toast to Marie and family. Cynthia informs Liam that Scott is taking her out that night. He reminds her of the work for their book, and Cynthia promises she will get back to it. She suddenly has a good feeling about Scott and thinks it will work out the 3rd time. While giving water to the chickens, they run away and Cynthia falls on Liam in an attempt to catch them. Tom wonders why Liam isn't spending Christmas with his girlfriend and learns that he doesn't have one. Tom offers some advice on strategies and asks him to make a move. Liam makes it, but Tom checkmates him. Liam is worried about making the wrong move and losing, but Tom thinks it's more important to try. Cynthia is ready for her date with Scott, but Liam gets irritated. He reminds her that she talked about how she and Scott didn't have anything. She feels he could have changed, but Liam thinks she deserves a bit more than cliches. She gets annoyed by his negativity, but he claims he cares about her. He feels bad she keeps putting herself out there and getting hurt. Cynthia opens the door and finds Scott with roses and some ladies who sing for her. She thinks it's a beautiful gesture and leaves for the date with him. Cynthia remembers she never thought Scott would be a lawman while growing up. Scott admits the small town doesn't have much crime, but he feels good when he can help others. She is glad she found his calling and that he remembered she likes cupcakes. She thinks all the gestures with the gifts is a lot, but Scott seems a bit confused about the gifts part. He still claims it's all about gifts for him. Cynthia thanks him for a special night and asks if he is behind all this and her true love. He claims he is her true love, and Cynthia just loves how everything is falling into place. As he kisses her, Liam watches them in frustration. Janet is concerned about how the milk with the maids on the 8th day might be raw, but Cynthia loves how romantic this is and asks the maids to ignore her. Janet finds Roger working on an elaborate plan for the wedding. She reminds him that they talked about something simple, but he feels this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Janet doesn't like big gestures. Her parents used to do them, and it has left a huge hole in Tom's heart after Marie passed away. She also explains how Cynthia keeps chasing romance since she was a kid, and it has got her nowhere. She assures Roger she wants something simple and thinks their marriage is about both of them being together. As she makes Roger hand over his plans, Cynthia overhears them. Scott comes to Liam to ask for advice, since he is close to Cynthia. Liam feels he's sorted with the way he looks and the flowers. Scott thinks he has one shot and doesn't want to screw it up because she is a special girl. When he claims they both want her to be happy, Liam agrees to give him advice. Cynthia is very excited for her next date, but Tom heard Liam giving advice to Scott. He thinks Liam is dumb and walks back into the house. Scott takes her to the community center for the Christmas cotillion, where they dance all night. Cynthia gushes about how great Scott is with Liam and how he seems to have changed and become more romantic. Liam confirms if Scott admitted he sent the gifts. Cynthia explains he claimed he was her true love, which she feels is implied. She asks Liam if she can take Scott to the wedding as her date, since she feels it's appropriate after everything he is doing for her. She doesn't want Liam to feel bad, but he assures her he is fine. Everyone gets excited about the 9 ladies dancing, but Cynthia comes late to record it. Liam finds his ex-girlfriend, Maggie, and is very excited to see her. He introduces Cynthia as his boss and claims he's working on a book with her. As Liam and Maggie catch up and flirt, Cynthia is upset about how great she looks. She's jealous Liam is taking her to the winter carnival when they are both not from the town. Tom makes her understand it's fine to be bothered if someone she's interested in meets an old flame. He asks her to count his fingers and hopes she can see what's right in front of her. They double date to the carnival, but Cynthia feels bad about missing 10 lords leaping outside her house. Maggie assures her that they will all come back for the grand finale on the last day. Cynthia loves how imaginative Scott is, and he doesn't deny anything. Roger seems distracted while playing and claims he's withholding information from someone he loves. He has planned a surprise, but is afraid it will backfire. Grant asks him to not worry because it always works out if the intention is good. Cynthia and Liam keep looking at each other when they're with their partners. Maggie has noticed how Liam is looking at her and decides to play along and help him. She also feels like Cynthia is getting jealous. Esther gives Tom a cookie and asks if he's dancing. She thinks it will do him some good to step out of the house more often. He claims he's busy with the wedding, so Esther hopes she sees more of him in the spring. Cynthia thanks Scott for the magical night, but claims she's tired and wants to head home. Liam is waiting for her with coffee and asks about her date. Cynthia feels Maggie is sweet, but Liam doesn't think it will work out with her. He claims he doesn't have feelings for her and jokes about Cynthia having enough romantic drama for both of them. He asks if she has decided to settle on Scott. Cynthia feels she could never imagine this 2 weeks ago, but she also thinks it doesn't have to make sense. Even if he has chosen Scott, Liam claims he wants her to be happy. She thanks him for being there for her and being such a good friend. Cynthia pretends to like Janet's wedding dress, but they both know it's too simple. Janet reminds her that this is who she is, and she doesn't care about parties or presents. Cynthia knows this is her big day, and she should wear whatever she wants. After the 11 pipers pipe, Tom invites them inside for breakfast. He asks for their help with the wedding preparations for the next day. At the rehearsal dinner, when Roger begins his speech, Scott tells Cynthia about a wine tasting reservation he made. As Roger praises Janet, Cynthia asks Scott to call off the grand finale. She doesn't want to interfere with Janet's ceremony when she's on edge about such gestures. Scott jokes about not wanting 12 pipers to pipe in the middle of the ceremony. Cynthia informs him that it's 12 drummers, and the pipers already came that day. She asks if Scott knows the song and makes him sing it. He gets the first few days right, but gets confused about calling birds. He also thinks 6 swans swim instead of 7. She keeps correcting him and directly asks if he sent the presents. She feels stupid for assuming it's him and walks out of the dinner. She asks why Scott has been lying to her for a week. Scott claims he never admitted the presents are from him. Cynthia had assumed it, and he just went along with it. He thinks even if he didn't send the presents, they still had a good time that week. Cynthia claims this is not about the presents because she is not that shallow. She still feels stupid for assuming this, and Scott assures her they can figure it out. She breaks up with him and is sure it will work out for him with someone else. Cynthia heads back home and asks why Liam didn't make it to the rehearsal. She informs him that it didn't work out with Scott. She finally knows that he sent her the presents. She feels bad it took her so long to figure it out and thinks it can't be anyone else. Liam gets offended that she has come to him after all her other options have been exhausted. He claims he didn't send her the presents. He asks why she didn't notice that he tagged along on Christmas to be with her. Liam packs up his bags and decides to stay in a motel that night. He refuses to be one of her leftovers. Janet thinks the party still went well because there is usually always some Cynthia drama. They still don't know who sent the presents, but she finds something in Roger's bag. He has been planning a cruise in the Caribbean for their honeymoon. Janet reminds him they talked about it. She is worried about leaving Tom alone after the wedding, but Roger claims Tom is fine with them going on a romantic cruise. She feels Roger is also caught up in the Cynthia nonsense and makes it clear she doesn't like romance. She feels it confuses people and is stressed about keeping this family together while everyone keeps ruining things. Cynthia doesn't understand what's so terrible about a secret honeymoon. She reminds Janet that a little bit of romance sometimes is not bad. Janet thinks Cynthia is too much like their mom. Janet has always been more practical and agreed to marry Roger since it made sense, and they are good friends. She still just wants Roger to be happy because she remembers the time Marie passed away. It was terrible to see how Tom's light just went out after that. She doesn't want to live like that. Cynthia thinks she shouldn't be afraid of romance just because she is worried she might lose it. She feels Janet really loves Roger and has a lot more of their mom in her than she thinks. They discuss how the chapter with Scott is over. Cynthia realized she doesn't have that special connection with him. She decides to stop chasing romance for a while and be like Janet. For the grand finale of the 12 Days of Christmas Presents, all the performers sing and dance for them. A letter addressed to Thomas is finally handed over. Janet realizes all this was for him. They head inside to read the letter from Marie. She claims she wanted to bring some joy back into Tom's life, even after she is gone. She hopes these gifts helped him get his humor back and wants him to know she loves him, even if she's not there. Cynthia feels stupid for assuming the presents were for her, and they all hug Tom. Janet realizes Marie must have planned all this when she stopped her treatment. Cynthia realizes that she always thought she needed someone to do romantic things for her. After looking at what her parents have, she realizes she needs someone she can do these things for. She chases after Liam and finds him waiting on the bench of the bus she assumed he was on. She got the wrong bus and hands him his scrapbook. She knows he didn't send the gifts, but realizes it was him for her all along. She feels stupid for imagining an epic love story and not realizing what was in front of her. She thinks it's important they have true friendship because it's bigger than any grand romantic gesture. She admits she has loved him for a long time, and he confesses his feelings by kissing her too. Janet walks down the aisle in Marie's dress because she realized she wanted something special on the first day of their marriage. After the ceremony, Janet and Roger discuss their plans for the honeymoon with the guests. Esther congratulates Tom for the beautiful ceremony. He asks her to dance with him, and she understands he needs to go slow. Grant notices a vibe between Maggie and Scott and asks them to dance with each other. Cynthia loves how beautiful the wedding is and is excited to finally dance with Liam. He brings her to the floor, and everyone enjoys the celebrations with their partners.